Good morning. Today is the ninth day of the second Adar, and we are in the 19th of March also. We're looking at the third reading of Parashat Vayikra, and we're going to focus on the verse Leviticus 2:7 that reads, "If your offering is a grain offering, you should fry it in a deep frying pan." There's different, a grain offering is basically made out of meal, some kind of meal. Then you make a pancake out of it, and then you fry it. So there were two types of pans in the tabernacle and then in the temple. There were pans that were deep fried and very flat pans that didn't have a lot of oil with them. So there were different types of grain offerings. This one is done in a deep frying pan, and the word for deep frying in Hebrew is marcheshet. I want to show you what this word is written like. This is it here. I hope you can see it properly. The first line, I'm going to have to hold it in a different way because everything is backwards here. So that's the first line, marcheshet. And what we have when we look at this word is that there's a lot of words like this, that the first and last letters, see if I can do this, the mem and taf, they spell the word for dead, met. And inside we have rachash. Rachash means that something is quivering, something is alive. Now, in and of itself, this might look like some kind of strange analysis. But really what we're doing is we're describing the reality of this reality that we live in. The reality that we live in seems like it is dead on the outside. It's alive on the inside. What do we mean by that? We mean, well, one way of thinking of it, matter is inanimate. And unless you have some kind of life force animating it, it seems dead. So that's the simplest meaning, that the matter in our world is inanimate, it's not alive. And you have to add something inside. So this would be a beautiful description of the body and the soul. So that we'd have the body on the outside is the met, it's dead, and the soul on the inside is quivering, it's alive. So that's one way of thinking of it. But the deeper way of thinking about this is that even things that are alive, they seem to be separate from godliness. And what that does is that things are godly from a godly sense, from a divinity sense, they're like dead. And even when you think that, what this is teaching us is that even when you think that, there is life inside. There is actual life inside, even in those things that seem to be divinely inanimate, that they seem to be, that they have no connection to the divine. They do have on the inside. And this is one of the great principles of Judaism, that everything that we encounter in our world has divinity inside. But unlike a purely pantheistic religion, Judaism does not say you can bow down to that godliness because it's partial. It's not all of God. Now one would say, how can you divide something that's infinite into parts? That doesn't make a lot of sense either. What we mean by partial is that there's only a partial revelation. Even if you would be able somehow to bring to the fore the divinity within something, it would still be partial in the sense that it would not be able to fully express the divine. And we only bow down and we only serve the fully divine, which is why we don't bow down to anything physical. Even in the temple, when we're bowing down, we're not bowing down to the temple. We're not bowing down to the ark. We're not bowing down to the cherubim. None of these. In fact, the door can be closed entirely, and it was closed by either a curtain, or in the second temple there was a wall separating. You didn't see it, you were not in touch with it. We're always bowing down to that which is beyond everything, beyond all the physical. But still, the idea here is that the physical contains within it rachash, the met, the inanimate, the divinely inanimate matter, or whatever you see, has within it life. Now, there's a very interesting thing that, before we get even into that, so we explained the whole theory now, but let's look at a little bit more about this. This word marcheshet, which again a deep frying pan, it's called like that because the oil makes things in it quiver. They move around, this deep frying pan. So there's only two appearances of this word in the Torah, in the entire Bible actually. Marcheshet and bemarcheshet, they equal together 1898, these two words together, which is 26 times 73, or 26 is obviously the value of God's essential name Havaya, Yud Kei Vav Kei, and 73 is the value of wisdom. And the whole idea here is that we have this very important verse from Job 4:21, they shall die but not in wisdom. Wisdom, what does wisdom mean? Wisdom means experientially that a person has a sense of self-nullification. Because he has a sense of self-nullification, he doesn't die. In other words, the divinity in him can shine out, can be revealed. And so that is the idea here in this marcheshet. When people would watch this frying in the frying pan, it would be an experience of like seeing the divinity come out and seeing the life, the divine life within the grain. Now, let's look at this a little bit more. It's called a minchat marcheshet because of this. An offering of a deep frying pan. Minchat means an offering. Specifically means a grain offering. So it's a grain offering in a deep frying pan. So this word minchat also has the same structure. It has mem and taf on the outside. Let's see this. I hope I have it written down. Here it is. Here's this word, minchat. Here it is. An offering of. So you see also that there is a mem and a taf. A mem and a taf. And inside we have, instead of the word rachash, now we have Noach inside. So this is a very interesting thing. It's called a minchat marcheshet. That's the full idiom. A grain offering in a deep frying pan. But minchat marcheshet, so inside the marcheshet we saw rachash, and inside the minchat we have Noach. Now, when we add these two together, Noach rachash, the inside, the outside in both these words is mit, is dead. But inside we have Noach and rachash. Noach and rachash together, let's just see it here. Noach, hard for me to do this. Noach and rachash together, which means Noah and quiver, they equal Mashiach, the son of Joseph, Mashiach ben Yosef. What's the idea here? That somehow the Mashiach, son of Joseph, he's responsible for bringing out the divinity within things. What do we mean by that? So we say that before one of the verses in Isaiah that describes the redemption is that the Jewish people will ask for, they will demand from God, as it were, et Hashem Elokehem veDavid Malkam. They will demand both God, Havaya their God, and David their king. So what does this mean? That these are two different demands. Demanding God is one thing, demanding David is something else. The Baal Shem Tov explains that to demand God means exactly that, to see the divinity in everything. And we can say that that demand is fulfilled by the Mashiach, son of Joseph. That's the aspect of Mashiach who comes to reveal that everything has a divine essence inside of it. The Mashiach, son of David, that's called demanding David. He comes to reveal, according to the Baal Shem Tov, the divine providence. It's not just that everything has divinity within it. It's that everything is according to divine providence. Everything that happens in the world, everything that we experience is conducted by God. It's orchestrated by God. It's a different experience of divinity. One might say that Mashiach, son of Joseph, is more inner, it's a more interior experience about things, and the divine providence is more of a exterior, encompassing experience of divinity. So there's a lot more to say here, and I hope you look at the article, the full article, on Patreon, patreon.com/galeinai, GALEINAI. And there's a lot more material there about this. There's a continuation about this and how this has to do with Genesis and the Spirit of God that was hovering over the waters, which the sages say is exactly this, the Mashiach, son of David. So that also needs to be included in this. But we've run out of time, and I hope you'll be able to see the full article later. All the best.